Hey everybody, look! I'm in a movie theater. Can't remember the last time I was in one of these. Probably since before a certain Backstreet Boys reunion tour happened. But yeah, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our weekly Jujutsu Kaisen discussion video. Today we're going to be talking all about episode 9. But before we get into that, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all. Let all of AniTube know that you're here. So with that said, what do you say we go ahead and get started into this week's episode? And yeah, this episode is basically split up into 3 characters, right? Like there's 3 characters we gotta talk about this week. There's Junpei Yoshino, there is Kento Nanami, and of course there's our boy Itadori. Now, I'm going to start with Junpei Yoshino, who I'll just be referring to as Yoshino since it seems like all the characters go by the last names in the show. So we're gonna start with Yoshino. And Yoshino, I feel like immediately how do I put this? Like, I felt bad for him, like, right off the pop. But I have to admit, like, a part of me, and God, this is embarrassing to admit, up until a certain thing happens, in a certain setting that I may or may not be in. Actually, I just realized that dude's right over there. Mojito, please just pretend like you don't see me. Maybe let's just keep our voices down just because. But yeah, anyway, before a certain event happened, I have to admit I did feel a sort of kindred spirit to Yoshino. I definitely was the kid who liked horror movies and stuff like that, and I tried to fit in growing up. Like, I attempted to be, admittedly, and this is embarrassing, I even had a stretch of time where I didn't want to admit that I watched anime, or like I would like actively try to avoid it, because I wanted to be cool, which was so dumb in hindsight. But once I did try to start being myself, yeah, I kind of feel how Yoshino felt when he got picked on and stuff. It's like, yeah, I remember that. That said, I did have a group of people that I could rely on, and that's why I felt particularly bad for Yoshino. It doesn't seem like he has anybody. We don't really hear much from his parents, if anything at all. In fact, I don't even think he mentions them at all. Teachers actively don't help him, and he is pretty much bullied for no real reason. Like, nothing he did really deserved getting bullied. He really didn't do anything, which just kind of makes the whole thing even worse. And screw that girl, by the way. Like, that girl being like, oh, like, he was looking at my boobs, what a jerk, what a creep, we should beat him up. And then they all go and beat him up. By the way, real macho, by the way. Like one kid versus 3 bigger kids. Like, oh yeah, you're real tough. But yeah, of course this is happening. Like, every friggin' high school has like that one group of people who feel like they're real tough by ganging up on people and acting like, oh, we're so strong because it's friggin' 4 versus 1. If you want to prove that you're tough, fight somebody one-on-one. Don't be a bitch. Sorry. It's just, I hate seeing that. And especially with a person that, like, or a character rather, that you feel for as much as you feel for Yoshino. Nothing that happened this week was his fault, like, even remotely. And he totally didn't deserve, like, the beatdown he got. We see it very briefly, but yikes. Yoshino takes a hell of a beating. Admittedly, he does say some pretty mean things. He wasn't wrong, though. But he does say some stuff that it's like, yeah, I'm not surprised they whooped his ass, but I am pissed that they did. And, like, the severity of it. Again, can't show it. Trying to say, to stay monetizable here on the channel. Probably not gonna, because there's probably gonna be some episode of Kaisen that's probably gonna get me demonetized. Because yeah, this show be gory, man. One of the things about Yoshino I find particularly interesting, though, is that he states that he doesn't really, like, it's not so much that he wants to, like, you know, like, destroy the world and he's evil or something like that. It's more so that he just wants people who hate him to just go away. And that's so relatable. Like, that's so sad, right? Like, the way it's said, it's like, man, by the time we see him, he's not evil, you know? Like, he's not bad. He's just sort of lost. And he's trying to, like, there's a good soul in there. And he's sort of surrounded by all this negative, ironically enough, this negative energy. That you just sort of want to see him break through that. And you kind of hope he'll be okay. And by him saying that he doesn't necessarily want to destroy people he doesn't like, but more so people who just hate him. And it's like, God, that's so sad. Like, it's just, like, he just wants an escape. It's why he goes to the theater by himself, right? He goes to watch this horror movie just because he wants to get some time away from the the scariness of his own life. And there's something so relatable and sad about that. So of course when he sees friggin' Mahito show up, again, just make sure that he doesn't, let's speak a little softer. Speak a little softer. Let's try and not upset the dude. I don't feel like turning into these friggin' guys. Like whatever the hell Mahito does to them, no thank you. Don't want to be that. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that though. When Yoshino sees what Mahito does, he straight up is like, instead of being horrified, he asks Mahito if he can do that too, which, like, yikes. That's very concerning. I've asked this question before. I thought that last week, I thought that the dude we see in the OP who hangs out with Itadori was the third-year student, but now I'm questioning if it's supposed to be Yoshino? Like, because I've seen some people say their designs are similar. So I'm like, oh, okay, so the guy in the OP isn't Yoshino, or is it Yoshino? I'm not super sure. Like, after watching this episode, the hairstyle looks really familiar. Like, I feel like it might be Yoshino, which does lead me nicely into talking a little bit, very, very briefly, about Itadori this week. Because I have a lot more to say about Nanami, who I loved, but I do want to segue from Yoshino into Itadori. So if the dude in the OP is Yoshino, right? The guy with he has really similar hair. I feel like I'm stupid, but like he looks the same to me. And if that's the case, and Yoshino is wearing the Jujutsu sorcerer, like the Jutsu tech uniform, I have to assume that Itadori might actually be the person that Yoshino needs, you know? Like, Nanami at one point says that, like, oh, Itadori is quick to anger, right? Like, when he finds out that the curses that they fought weren't actually just manifested negative energy, they were people at one point, Itadori gets pissed, and he gets really angry. And Nanami sort of clocks that, right? He's like, oh, that's interesting. He's quick to anger on behalf of others. So it shows, like, that Itadori is quick to put the burdens of other people onto himself, which just makes me love this dude even more. Itadori's so top tier. Like, he's one of those top tier shonen protagonists that you love to see. And he doesn't, like, every little step for Itadori feels earned. Like, I really love Itadori as a character. And I like the idea that he's not just going to help people with being a Jujutsu sorcerer, but also just by being who he is. Like, I feel like there's a good chance that he's going to try to talk Yoshino down and sort of make him join the good guys, you know? I think that could be interesting. And plus, it further ties Mahito into the main cast, since he has such a clear connection with Yoshino. But yeah, Itadori is just a boss this week. And can we talk about Divergent Fist? Look at this thing. It's dope. Itadori looks like a badass. I loved seeing my boy get some badass new skills, you know? Like, he actually gets a new ability. Since we know that a lot of the Jujutsu sorcerers have their own sort of, like, specific skill, right? That they have. Their own thing that they can do. With Itadori, his current thing seems to be this Divergent Fist, where it's almost sort of like Deku-ish, you know, like to an extent where, like, Deku doesn't have full control over all one for all, right? So he sort of like he's running at, like, you know, a certain percentage, right? Like, let's say by now Deku might be at like 25 to 50%, right? Like somewhere around there. So, like, at this point then, like Itadori's maybe running at, like, about the same, maybe like 25, right? Like 25% of where he will eventually be. Maybe not even. Maybe this is just like the first 10%, you know? Itadori's, it's hopefully a long show. I hope this show keeps going for a long time. So Itadori might just be starting out. So I like the idea that his skills are just slowly developing in the same way that a character like Deku from My Hero does. And what's cool about Itadori's new ability, even cooler than other characters, and again, like, this isn't a knock on Deku, I love Deku, but what's cooler about this is that his weakness almost serves as a strength, right? Like, with Itadori still trying to grasp how to use cursed energy, his body moves quicker than the energy can keep up with. And again, this is just my own interpretation of like, I tried to gather what was happening, but again, y'all know me, I'm kind of dumb. So from what I understood, Itadori's body is, like, his skills are moving quicker than his cursed energy does. So when he punches something, he connects with it. So he gets that pow, right? So he gets you in the stomach, and then the cursed energy works as sort of like, it's like just like a second hit, right? So it's sort of like a slingshot. Like, you pull back, and then you let go, and then boom, the energy comes out. So it's, yeah, that's the best way I could describe it, is when Itadori punches you, it's like a slingshot. You get the initial hit, but then you get this slingshot of cursed energy that just whoops that ass. You know, it's impressive. I loved the way that they gave him that skill, because again, it does tie his weakness into his strength, and I think that that's so sick. Itadori this week is so sick. I loved everything with Itadori. I like how he slowly became more and more connected to Nanami, who I liked a lot as well. In fact, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the king this week. Actually, the king is still Gojo. The king is still Gojo. I mean, just that man that man's barely in the episode and he still be serving looks. Jesus, by the way, Gojo, you gotta tell me before you start serving looks. I said that on Twitter. I'm gonna say it again here. But let's talk about the other king this week. Let's talk about Kento Nanami. So it's funny to me, right? My boy Sun Woo and I have agreed that any series at all, is made maybe like 5 to 10% better, if not way more, by the inclusion of a certain Seiyu. That Seiyu being Kenjiro Suda. Friggin' Suda shows up in everything that I like. I swear, this man shows up in everything I like. Just, yeah, everything I like. Everything I like has Suda in it. And so I was literally, I remember having this thought of like, Kaisen seems like a show that Suda should be in. So of course this man shows up as Kento Nanami. Like, of course he shows up. And I gotta say, Kento's design. Let's talk about Kento's design briefly. It's design time, y'all. I don't really do design time as much as I used to, but I miss it. So yeah, Kento Nanami's design. He is basically dressed up like, as you'd expect, a salaryman, right? Like, his design is very much suited to that salaryman aesthetic that we establish, like Gojo establishes for the audience right away. He very much looks like the typical salaryman. He has the white suit, blue collar underneath it. Typical, right? Like, very sort of typical salaryman. What makes it, what I found anyway, what makes it different, what makes him stand out, is the yellow spotted tie, which doesn't really suit a salaryman. Like, the tie's design is like, it's almost like these splotchy dots on it. That probably wouldn't fly in a typical workplace. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody would be like, that tie is weird, get rid of that tie. So the yellow spotted tie. And then there's these yellowish green shades that he wears. Sometimes they look more yellow than green, sometimes they look more green than yellow, but they do typically fall somewhere in the yellowish green. Now, yellow as a color is typically shown to be a very perceptive color, right? There's a sort of like an energetic side to yellow, but it can also sort of be an intellectual side as well. The yellow typically denotes a sort of like perceptive type of characteristic, especially when used in character designs. When I see yellow, I either think that they're really like happy and like generally like positive, but when I see a design like Nanami's, where there's typically more of a salaryman type, I see the yellow as more being intellectual and perceptive. Geez, words, bad at them. Anyway, so that's what I got from the tie. Sort of this like salaryman, but with the spots, the sort of spots on the tie are the Jujutsu side of him, right? Where like he is a salaryman, but there's this darkness there, this sort of cursed energy there on the tie, and that's why it's spotted, right? So I thought that that was a really nice touch. As for the yellowish green shades, at first I was like, again, I think that this is just meant to sort of like bounce off of the perceptive, like he's very perceptive, like hence like his eye, like by having yellow shades, it shows that he's very perceptive. Like when he sees people, like what he sees, he can see well, right? Like he can read a person right away. And he does read Itadori pretty well off the pop, right? He's like, he can as we go through the episode, he's reading Itadori like a book. So he is very perceptive. Like, that's true. But what I think the yellowish green shades really indicate, and I feel stupid for not noticing this, it's a sniper scope. Based off what his ability is, and we'll talk about that in a second, the way that he fights and the way that he pinpoints weaknesses, it's almost like those shades are acting more like a sniper's scope. He's actually able to pinpoint where he needs to hit in order to take the enemy down. So again, the designs in Kaisen are dope. I absolutely positively friggin' love Nanami's design. It is so good. And again, the fact that it's friggin' Suda, like, of course it's Suda. Of course he's voiced by Suda. Of course, Suda's a friggin' everything that I like. Suda's probably in everything you like. You probably just don't even know he's there. Did you know he's like one of the side characters in freaking Hit Mike? Beautiful. Along with a billion other things, by the way. It's just Hit Mike's for some reason in my mind right now. But yeah, Suda's friggin' in everything, and it's great to have him here. I do think Kaisen really fits his voice. I think this character really fits his voice. I think he's gonna be really at home in this series. Some other stuff that we should probably talk about, and yes, I'm looking over here at my notes. Don't mind me looking at my notes. I'm sorry. Anyway, what I like about Nanami as well is that he is sort of like in both worlds, right? He's a salaryman. Found out like he thinks that being a salaryman is shit, but he was also a Jujutsu sorcerer before he became a salaryman. He also thought that was shit, and so he just decided to do the shitty job that he's good at. If both are shitty, he's gonna do the one that he's good at, which like. I find that really funny. But I also think it's interesting that while he does trust, I almost said and respect, but he does not. While he does trust Gojo, he doesn't really, I think he's kind of lying when he says that he doesn't respect him. I think he does to an extent. A lot of Nanami's mannerisms, I'm like, okay, he's definitely sort of like feigning this like, I don't care. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like, I am a businessman, I do not care. But he clearly cares. Like, he notices things about Itadori that he sort of resonates with. He does care about what Gojo thinks, even if Gojo does leave drawings of penises in his pocket, which is like, what the hell? I love the little end credits stingers. They're really goofy. But what I like about Nanami is that he is basically the polar opposite of Gojo, right? He does respect rules and regulations, and so in that way, he does sort of, he's not totally on board with what Gojo wants to do, right? Gojo clearly wants to shake up the whole Jujutsu world, right? Like the whole lifestyle, the whole like mantra. He wants to shake up everything about the Jujutsu world, whereas Nanami probably isn't as on board for that. You know, like he respects the rules, respects the regulations involved with being a Jujutsu sorcerer, which is standing in stark contrast to a character like Gojo. And they are very much polar opposites, even in the way that they interact with Itadori. It's very different, right? Itadori and Gojo are like two peas in a pod. They get along great. Whereas when Itadori's with Nanami, it's not quite the same, right? Nanami's not as quick to praise. He's not as quick to condemn either. He's just sort of like, he just calls it as he sees it. He's very perceptive. And I think that it really shows in the way that, again, not only the way he fights with the whole like pinpointing weaknesses, and from what I gather, he can create 3 to 7 weak points in an enemy. So it's not even that he sees them, he creates them, which is so sick. But yeah, anywhere between 3 to 7, like that's what his he can use cursed energy for. He can create 3 to 7 weak points, and even if his weapon is blunt, which we do see that it is blunt, which is also spotted, by the way. His weapon's also wrapped up, and that is also spotted, much like the tie. But not only can he create weak points on an enemy, even if he hits you with the dull side of the blade, if he hits that weak point, your ass is grass, and that is friggin' cool. I absolutely loved Nanami so much. I loved this character, loved him to pieces. The dude is so sick. And again, like, I do think that he's probably gonna be, I'll admit, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about him going up against Mahito, because I feel like this show isn't gonna pull punches. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, JoJo, be prepared, my dude. So I'm like, that's scary. I wonder what they mean by that. And now I'm like, oh god, don't put Suda in here just to take him away. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little concerned that Mahito is gonna kill Nanami or something. God, I really hope not. I love this character, and he might have one of my favorite designs so far. Like, legit, I loved this design. I'm just a little concerned, just a wee bit, just ever so much a wee bit concerned, just a wee bit. But yeah, with that said, everybody, that is going to wrap up today's video here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell and set notifications to all. Let all of AniTube know that you're here. And of course, as always, I have to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names. And hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that Patreon link in the description, and the second is by hitting that join button right beside the sub button to get a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, and of course your name scrolling past the screen here. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and hit that join button or check out the Patreon link. Either way, it is super, super appreciated. So once again, a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. That's it from me. So until next time, you stay classy, AnyTube, wash your dang hands, and don't actually go to a movie theater right now. It's like dangerous. Don't do that. But yeah, I mean, for more reasons than just, you know, mojito over there. I keep calling him mojito like the drink. I can't help it. Anyway, bye.